is Keeping Up with the Times, where two reporters take a deep dive into the weekly local news. I'm Katelyn Cordero from the Mid-Hudson Times.
And I'm Laura Fitzgerald from the Wallkill Valley Times.
This week, we're going to look at charges of anti-Semitism in the Pine Bush School District. The district's history with anti-Semitism dates back to 2012, when they were sued by 5 Jewish students from Pine Bush. The lawsuit was based on indifference surrounding anti-Semitic harassment and ended in a $4.4 million settlement in which the school agreed to change its curriculum and policies to combat racism and anti-Semitism and to conduct student surveys such as this one to track its progress. So, Laura, why is this discussion surrounding anti-Semitism coming back up again?
The school just released a school climate survey that asked students about incidents of anti-Semitism and other incidents of racism and intolerance. The surveys are a way to track the school's progress, and were part of the agreement in the $4.4 million settlement in 2015. The New York Times got a hold of this survey and wrote a story about it that came out on March 1st.
So when you were looking at this survey, what were some of the things that stood out to you?
The biggest thing that stood out to me was the prevalence of the culture of anti-Semitism in the district. A third of students answered sometimes, often, or frequently to the questions asking if they had heard anti-Semitic slurs, Holocaust jokes, white power chants, and other incidents of anti-Semitism. Another 27% of students responded rarely to the same question. It's important to note that these survey questions can be flawed because they might have confusing wordings or students might not understand them. It also gives no indication of the actual number of incidents because 10 students can be talking about the same incident.
Do you think the district is doing all it can to combat anti-Semitism?
I honestly think the district is doing its best. They launched an aggressive campaign of programs, policies, and curriculum changes in 2012 in response to the lawsuit. And to be honest, I think there's only so much a school can do to change the hearts and minds of young people. Those students are still hearing other messages from the media, their friends, their homes, and the other environments they inhabit. And this kind of change takes time. You can't cure racism in a year or even a couple years.
Is the climate changing, in your opinion, around anti-Semitism? What have you seen through your reporting?
If you look at the survey, it does show some improvement. In the 2018-19 survey, around a third of students selected agree or strongly agree to the question, students in our school have heard anti-Semitic slurs, observed inappropriate actions in conjunction with anti-Semitic epithets, or observed swastikas in our buildings. In the same question, a 2017-18 survey, 44% of students selected agree or strongly agree, which is a 27% decrease. I did go to a menorah lighting last December in Pine Bush, and I asked a woman there if I could ask her some basic, kind of fluffy questions. She didn't even want to give me her name because she said she worked in the school district and she heard the things that they said about Jewish people. She didn't even want people to know that she was Jewish in the paper. Now that kind of just made me step back and think, some anti-Semitism might still be alive in the district. I also don't have any kids or have any friends with kids in the district, so I don't have that personal connection, and it's really hard for me to know what students are experiencing when I don't know any of them personally. And I've only lived in New York for less than a year, so it's hard for me to say that it's gotten better because I just haven't experienced that history.
When you talk about, New York as a whole, I think about my own coverage area, which is the city and the town of Newburgh and the Newburgh Enlarged City School District. I was not covering specifically anti-Semitism, but when I was covering the community's response to the shooting in Pittsburgh, the Jewish community's response, I spoke to one young man that he actually said that the climate, from what his personal experience, anti-Semitism is very real and it exists in New York and in this area. He said that he did a project on his grandfather, who was a Holocaust survivor, and people drew swastikas on his papers and on his work, and they made fun of him for it. That kind of leads me to a question of, have you seen any numbers that would indicate if anti-Semitism incidents have increased or decreased in New York State as a whole?
Yeah, so anti-Semitism in the country and the state of New York is actually increasing. According to the Anti-Defamation League, from 2016 to 17, the number of anti-Semitic incidents rose by 90%. The number of K through 12 incidents doubled from 18 in 2016 to 36 in 2017. You know, the Pine Bush School District, the number, at least according to the survey, it seems to be getting better even as anti-Semitism is getting worse in the rest of the state and the country.
In other news, BioHigh-Tech, a trash-to-energy company that sought to operate a solid waste facility at Stewart International Airport, is now seeking another site in Orange County. The company's project director, Dennis Soriano, is looking for another location suitable for the company's unique microbial digestion system process, an alternative to traditional landfills. The Marlborough School District is looking to do a $19.9 million upgrade to the school's infrastructure. About 70% of the much-needed renovations would be paid for by New York State. Superintendent Michael Brooks sees the project as a no-brainer. That's our show. Be sure to check out our website at timeshudsonvalley.com. If you have any feedback or suggestions, feel free to email us at keepwiththetimes@tcnewspapers.com or call us at 845-561-0170.